What's up, guys? It's your boy, Mayhem Matthew. Yes, this is Mayhem Matthew. This is not Christian Ballard of Ballard Sports Media, but this is Mayhem Matthew of Ballard Sports Media. If you like this type of video, please smash the thumbs up. And if you really like this video, hit the subscribe button because Christian Ballard of Ballard Sports Media is on his way to 2,000 subscribers. So please make sure you like this video and you subscribe. It helps out Ballard so much. I asked Ballard, could I come on here and chat with y'all today? I want to know y'all's opinion on this, and I'm going to put it up right here for y'all to see. Brett McMurphy put out about 31 minutes ago. Conference commissioners have decided to, quote, start over on determining the 2026 college football playoff format, sources said. Big Ten and SEC initially wanted 4 automatic qualifiers with 2 each to ACC and Big 12. However, ACC and Big 12 pushed back. I mean, come on. Of course they would push back. SEC coaches later publicly did not support 4 automatic qualifier model, instead preferring the 5 automatic qualifier plus 11 at-large format for 16-team playoff, as did ACC and Big 12. The SEC wants more value given to the strength of schedule metrics, something CFP executive discussed in today's meetings. However, a source cautioned, even if strength of schedule is supposed to carry more weight with committee, it still boils down to their opinions on who they think are the best teams. Deadline for finalizing 2026 CFP format is December 1st. So, I want to talk about this. Please let me see your comments down below. I would love to hear what you have to say about this. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Whenever I saw this, I immediately wanted to come on here and scream. But I'm not gonna scream. I'm not. Um, I'm gonna talk about this, man to man, man to woman, whoever I'm talking to, man to viewer, because honestly, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous that millionaires or billionaires cannot come together and create a format that is best for college football and that is best for the fans' viewings and that is the best for each conference. Are you serious? You mean to tell me that it is taking this long and this many changes and they want to start over and completely think about something new, all because that the SEC um the SEC feels like that strength of schedule may not be carried as much as they want. Because it says the SEC wants more value given to the strength of schedule metrics. However, a source cautioned, even if strength of schedule is supposed to be carry more weight with committee, it boils down to their opinions on who they think are the best teams. So obviously, to me, that makes me believe, like, okay, the SEC wants more teams in the college football playoffs. They want this 5 automatic qualifiers plus 11 at large, but they probably want half of the 11 at large spots. The SEC does, and I'm sure the Big Ten's in on this as well. Let me know your thoughts down below. But this irritates me so much because I can't keep on defending this. I am an SEC homer, and I cannot keep on defending this any longer after this. I'd love to come on here and say the SEC is the best conference. They need, spots. They want the 12 best teams, or they want the best, and the SEC is the best. But I cannot defend this because now this is just a power move. So you mean to tell me conference commissioners said, "Hey, let's just start all over. Let's start over from square zero and completely ignore, completely ignore the fact that y'all been working on this. Y'all have some pretty good ideas already on the table, but you're going to completely ignore the fact. You're going to completely ignore, these ideas that y'all might have." I actually liked the 5 automatic qualifiers plus 11 at large. I thought that was the best move going forward. And it's going to change later after 2026 because they're already moving to a 16 team playoff. So, what makes me believe as a college football fan, if you can't get your ish together and come up with something for 2026, whenever it's going to change the next year or two to a 16 team playoff, what makes me believe that you can even come up with a format that is sustainable for the future of college football? What makes me believe that? Y'all arguing over 2026, and it's kind of dumb, especially if y'all are going to move on to the 16 team playoff, which is heavily rumored. I'm not sure if it's official, but people are making it out to be official. So, I think this is very stupid. I think this is very incompetent by these commissioners, these billionaires, these multimillionaires, whatever they are. This is just terrible. This is terrible for the fans. This is terrible for college football that these committees, these commissioners cannot come together and as one and do what's best for college football. That is what I hate the most. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. I absolutely loved the 5 automatic qualifiers plus 11 at large for the 16 team playoff. Okay? And maybe, well, actually, the 16 team playoff will be starting in 2026, I'm assuming, by what this article reads. But I want this college football playoff format to be sustainable for the next several years. I don't want a format just for now so that it will change in a few years. That's what I don't want. And whenever I look at this paragraph that Brett McMurphy put out, I'm thinking that they're probably going to come up with something before December 1st, and it's not going to be sustainable, and then they're going to keep on changing it every couple of years. I'm sure this, the format that they agree on, I'm sure that it's not going to be, you know, a 10-year deal or anything like that. They'll probably do like a little 2-year deal with this format to see how it goes, like a 2 or 3-year deal. And then after that, they'll probably change it because they don't know what they want. They don't know what they want. And, they're not gonna let it ride out for many years to see what it is. They're not even letting the 12-team playoff ride out. I mean, we've had 1 year of the 12-team playoff, and already 2026 going to a 16-team playoff. Already going to a 16-team playoff in 26. How is that sustainable, guys? How is that sustainable? You don't even know what you want. You're just throwing stuff to the wall and hoping it sticks. And I just don't think that this is sustainable. They need to come up with a format that is very easy to understand, very simple, and they need to go with it. I like the 5+11 because you get the 5 highest conference champions automatically qualified to get in the playoffs. That sounds great to me. And then you got the 11 at large, the next 11 best teams without bias, the best teams. And yes, I do believe that strength of schedule should play into it, but it shouldn't be biased. Just because it has an SEC logo on their uniform, that doesn't mean the strength of schedule's harder. Not year to year, anyways. Yeah, most years this probably will be the Big Ten and the SEC. Of course, most years the the hardest schedules will be either Big Ten or SEC, of course. But you know, if I just feel like that the non-con schedule has to also play into that factor as well. If the SEC is scheduling cupcakes, and then the Big 12 and ACC's out here scheduling, SEC and Big 12, SEC and Big 10 competition, the ACC and Big 12 are scheduling them, then that will boost their strength of schedule. It should, 100%. If Clemson is scheduling Ohio State, then they should definitely take that into credit. Like they played some tough competition. But if Georgia's out here scheduling Akron State or whatever, then just because they played the SEC schedule, that doesn't mean their schedule is one of the hardest. I mean, it might be from year to year on a year to year basis, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be like that, is what I'm trying to say. Maybe the ACC has the hardest schedule 1 year. Maybe the Big 12 has the hardest schedule 1 year. Just because you're SEC, just because you're Big 10, that doesn't mean you automatically every single year have the hardest schedule. It shouldn't be like that. Like I said, in most years, it probably will be like that because let's just be real, the SEC and Big 10 make the most money, and also they do generate the best players. That is true. Argue with the brick wall if you want to. That's just the truth. But there will be some years that the ACC will have the hardest schedule, or the Big 12, maybe, possibly, right? So that's why I say that I like the 5 automatic qualifiers plus 11 at large, because then the the committee can do their job and actually put the 11 next best into the 16-team playoff. I like that. I have never supported the Big Ten and SEC getting 4 automatic qualifiers. I have never supported that ever, and never will. Because what if the Big Ten and SEC does have a down year? What if they do have a down year? What if the ACC and Big 12 have great years? I mean, let's just take a look at last year's Big 12. It was wide open. The competition was wide open. You didn't know who was going to the Big 12 title until like maybe a couple weeks before the actual Big 12 title game. You didn't even know. The ACC has been down for the last few years, but who's to say that the ACC can't come back up like they did back in 2015 to like 2018 or whatever them years was, that the ACC was on top. Who's to say that they can't come back up? So why would they, according to that first format that they originally went with, that was a load of dog crap. It was. So they only get 2 automatic qualifiers each, ACC and Big 12. That's a load of dog crap.
Hey, bud.
Oh, what's up, Ballard?
Not much. I just got off work, man. So what's all this news, man? What we got going on?
So about maybe a half hour ago, Brett
Uh-huh.
McMurphy put out a statement. Conference commissioners have decided to start over on determining 2026 college football playoff format. Sources said Big Ten, Big Ten and SEC initially wanted 4 automatic qualifiers each, with 2 each to ACC and Big 12. We already talked about that on a previous touchdowns live stream.
Right.
However, ACC and Big 12 pushed back. Of course, why would they not? But
Of course.
SEC coaches later publicly did not support that model, instead preferring 5 automatic qualifiers plus 11 at large for the 16-team playoff, as did the ACC and Big 12. So everybody was good with that. Everybody.
Yeah. Right.
So the SEC wants more value given to strength of schedule, and I also do too. Okay, I think that the strength of schedule should have, you know,
It
a
needs some
very.
weight, basically.
It should definitely hold a ton of weight.
Yeah.
But so the so it says some things CFP executive discussed in today's meetings. However, a source cautioned, probably an SEC source, even if strength of schedule is supposed to carry more weight with the committee, it still boils down to their opinions on who they think is the best teams. So this just means, in my opinion, this is a power play. This is a power play by either the SEC or Big Ten. I I really believe it's the SEC based off of how this is written. It says the SEC teams want more value given to strength of schedule, and then later he said, however, a source caution, even if the strength of schedule is supposed to carry more weight, it still boils down to their opinions. So I do believe that this probably was most likely an SEC source based off of how he's writing this paragraph right here. So like, bro, this is just a power move to get the SEC to have more spots in the college football playoff. Okay.
Yeah. I agree.
Um, I earlier I had said something and I was wrong. 2026. I will correct myself. 2026 will be the start of the 16-team playoff. Okay. Earlier in the stream, I had said something that was very stupid, and I had to correct myself. So 2026 will be the first year of the 16-team playoff. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So I want that to be noted. So with that being said, I was trying to tell everybody, and I want to know if you agree with me. So let's just say that they come out with a college football playoff format.
Okay.
They have to before December 1st. So these multimillionaires and billionaires are arguing now. What makes you think that this, whatever format they come up with, what makes you think that format is going to be sustainable for the next several years? And I'm not talking about 2 or 3 years. I'm talking about 7, 8, 9, 10, 12,
Well, that's the
15
thing,
years.
Mayhem. You're basically what you're saying is kind of what I've said. Like, at what point do we look at the playoff and the format and we say this is a good long term answer? Like, it could work for a year or two, but correct me if I'm wrong. You're kind of saying that, right? Like, how is it going to work long term, and how is it going to like? And if I'm being honest, my opinion on that is it's not going to work long term because not because of the system necessarily, but because everybody and their mother, or at least somebody and their mother, is going to whine and pout about the 14 or 16 model, the way it's structured. It's not going to satisfy everyone. And because someone gets upset, it could be one person screaming on the internet. Uh, we're going to have to keep changing it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't think it's a good. I don't think it's a good thing for college football. I don't think it's a good thing for college football fans because you go. I
Right.
mean, college football. I mean, earlier in the stream, I was even getting confused on when the 16-team playoff is going to start because they keep on changing it.
They keep changing how many teams, and they keep
And
postponing or trying to make it earlier, or if they make it earlier then they postpone it again, and it's
and
stupid.
here and here's the thing, Ballard. Right?
Yeah.
That like so the 12-team playoff just started this past year.
Yeah.
All right. And here's the crazy part about this, Ballard. They had already planned on going to a 16-team playoff before the 12-team playoff even was even played out on TV, right?
Well, dude,
So
I mean, when you see, whether it's an expert or just some college football fan, when they put out like a 18 or 8 team or 16 team or 20 or 24, like, that's an idea. So I know what you're saying there. Like, they've talked about it expanding to 16. Possibly, I've seen sources or quote unquote experts, or I don't know if I want to say I've seen experts, but I've seen multiple sources say that we should have as many as 24 teams.
yeah, I mean the FCS does it that way, 2014 playoff,
Yeah,
and
but like
you
they
know,
basically they try to play March Madness with it almost. Not as many, but pretty close to it.
but
And
I don't mind the format. Okay,
right.
I don't mind having 16 teams. I don't mind having 12 teams. I don't mind having 134 teams, and
Right.
just instead of playing the regular season, just have a whole entire playoff, one big behind playoff, and
For like
and
all 130 teams or something.
sure, why not? I don't
I mean,
care what
I've
format.
thought about that.
I don't care what format. Obviously we're joking, but
Yeah.
like, I don't care what format you go with. I want it to be good for all parties. And
Right.
I want it to be, more importantly, I want it to be sustainable
I agree.
for the foreseeable future. I want to be able to tell my kids growing up, hey, this is how college football works whenever they're 5, 6, 7 years old. But if college football format keeps on changing, then whenever they're 5 years old and they're learning about football, I'm gonna have to tell a 6 year old and a 7 year old and an 8 year old every single year. I'm gonna say, hey, you know what I told you last year, son? You know what I told you last year? Oh, scratch that. It's this way now, right?
Or
And
you're
then
going to get to the point. You're going to get to the point where it's so confusing for everybody. You're going to be like, "Son, listen to me. I have no idea what they're going to do this year, buddy. We're just going to watch and see." You know.
like, how is that sustainable? Like, you want to create fans for the future. You do have kids watching. I mean, I grew up watching college football with my stepdad and my
Right.
uncle, right? And they taught me how it was back then. They said, at the end of the season, you're going to have a number one and number two, and they're going to play in a bowl game, and that's going to be the national championship, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to have these bowl games that are actually meaningful, and that you're going to love to watch. And so get ready to, so if your team doesn't make number one or two, but you can still go to a BCS bowl game, which is like, the equivalent to like a New Year's Six bowl now. Well, like, I guess the playoffs kind of now, but like, you know I was taught at an early age that that's how it was, and I was able to grow up with that until I was old enough. Whenever they changed it to a 14 playoff, right?
Yeah.
That I was old enough that I can understand, like, okay, they're changing. College football is changing. That's fine. But like, if I was 5 or 6 years old right now, bro, I probably, I don't know. I don't know. With it changing so much, I don't even know if I would even understand. I don't even know if I would understand. Listen, that's why
I
I
would.
don't watch.
I would question if you. Not only would you not be able to understand it like 5 or 6 years old if you drew it in color crayons or something, but like I I don't know if a 5 year old would want to watch that today. Just
Like,
saying, because he can't understand it.
yeah, I mean, that's why I could never get into soccer. I
Right.
don't understand it. They have too many
Too.
yellow
Me too.
card, and I could never get into soccer because they have yellow card, red card. They have, this penalty, that penalty. Like, they have so many rules, and then they have certain kicks or whatever. I just never could get into it. I never could really understand the rules, and that's why I never did watch it. So, I could only imagine if I was 5 or 6 years old trying to understand like the formats and stuff like that, and as a young kid, okay, so hey, Dad, we're finally at a 12-team playoff, right, Dad? Oh, yes, son. But don't worry, we're going to a 16-team playoff here in a couple years. But oh, Dad, how's that going to work? Oh, uh, but we don't know yet. But because billionaires and multimillionaires don't know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's so stupid. Like, you know, I hope they figure this out. I mean, it does irritate me that the viewer doesn't have a clear understanding of the future of college football.
Right. I agree. I fully agree with you. Because, like, I obviously, like, I say this all the time about, like, NIL and stuff. I don't care if you, like, keep expanding the playoffs or if we have NIL or pay for play, or I'm always going to love this sport. But even if I continue to watch, I want to know what I'm watching. I want to understand. Like, I want to know what's going on other than just what's on my television in the game. But I love college football so much, I want to study it, man. I really do. And some of this stuff is getting to the point where, it just hurts my brain, honestly.
Well, I'm gonna just be honest. They don't. They don't. These multimillionaires and billionaires, they don't care that we care, right?
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you why. I think this is a really good point to make. The reason why they don't care is because I would say a good 80 to 85% of people who watch college football are casual football fans.
Yeah.
And go to your local Walmart. Go to
Yeah.
your local. I had a video on my channel one time,
Oh, where
and
you were at Walmart and asking people what their team was, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and so go listen. If you ever have some spare time, or you're at Walmart and you want to talk to somebody, get to know somebody, or whatever, go to somebody that has an Alabama shirt on or a Auburn shirt on, whatever.
Yeah.
Go up to them and say, "Hey, man, what you think about this year?" Right,
Yeah.
and let them talk. I promise you, you might start laughing because they're probably going to say something like so stupid. They're probably going
Yeah.
to say the
And I
most.
don't think here's the thing. I don't think it's their fault though. That's the thing. Like they're gonna say something that's kind of I don't know if I want to say it's out of line. It's more out of whack, and like
They're
it
probably going to say,
it's not gonna make sense for today's college football, but at the same time, if you start laughing at that, you're not I don't think it should be one of those, oh my gosh, this guy's so dumb. It's no, oh my gosh, our system is so broken.
but another thing is this. And listen, you can call me crazy if you want to. Just I promise you, if you don't believe me, go to your local Walmart. Whoever's watching this video, go to your local Walmart. Go to your local grocery store. I've already done this before. I know how it is. They will say, "Oh, we're going to the Super Bowl, bro. It's called the national championship, bro. Right?
Right, right.
Like, like that is what these multimillionaires, these billionaires are catering to. Is these casual fans that honestly all they care about is the W's in the column, and they probably don't even watch every single weekend. They probably have it in the background while they're, you know, cooking up hot dogs and hamburgers in their backyard, right?
Yeah.
They probably have it on in the background on their TV, but they're really not paying attention to it. And they probably have like 20 or 30 people over that are friends and family, right?
Oh yeah.
And they call that watching football, and really honestly they're just not watching it, right? So these multimillionaires and these billionaires, they don't care, because if you go up to a casual fan and you ask them, like, what was Alabama's record last year, they're probably going to tell you that they won the national championship last year.
That
And
wasn't
then
even close though.
that's probably what they're going to do. Oh, we won the championship. And they probably
9-4, yeah.
they went not like they're probably going to remember the SEC championship a couple years ago, but they're going to think that was last year. They're going, oh yeah, we won the SEC championship, or we won the national champion. They're probably going to think the SEC championship is the national championship. Oh yeah, we won the national championship.
Yeah.
Roll Tide. Like,
Ah,
you know, and I'm not making fun of Alabama fans. I'll do it for Georgia fans too.
yeah.
Casual Georgia fans. I can run into one tomorrow, and I'm sure that they'll say, "Yeah, we won the national championship," and it's probably the SEC championship that they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it's just the same crap, I remember asking the Carolina fan, like, what does he think about the season? And he said, "Well, we're gonna whip up on them Georgia Bulldogs." And in my head, I'm thinking, bro, y'all don't even play the Georgia Bulldogs this year. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, how you gonna whip up on the Georgia Bulldogs whenever you don't even play them, bro?
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. And I like, there's casual fans everywhere, and that is the reason why these multimillionaires and billionaires do not care about what we think, and what we think about the future of college football, because we are a small minority of people who want to learn more about college football and try their best to study this and try to get it right and come on here and talk a little bit of college football with our YouTube friends and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So
And by the way,
like
I want to be the first to say, like, if you're just a casual fan that just watches the game and doesn't study it like me or Mayhem, no problem with that. I get it. There's other things out there outside of football to love about life and everything like that. I get it, you know. Um, but yeah, it just amazes me sometimes. Like I can try to incorporate it in almost any conversation, and honestly, there's a lot of people out there that really don't like um, give in to the world of college football outside of just tuning into a game on Saturday.
I mean, look, you're 100% correct. Like I'm not bashing on people who are casual fans of football.
Right.
Like I'm not bashing on that because I'm just telling you what I was trying to say is the reason why they don't care about what me and you think, Ballard, is because people are going to have it on their TV regardless if they're watching or not, and they're going to have views. They're always going to have viewership, right?
Yeah.
And they certainly don't care what we think because just like you said earlier in the stream, regardless of what they do, me and you, Ballard, the ones that are talking about it and that are disgruntled about it, we're still gonna watch.
Yeah.
So they don't care. They just don't care. And that sucks. That sucks for diehard college football fans, and it sucks for the little fans that are trying to learn, college football that are 6 and 7 years old, right?
Yeah. And think about it
Yeah.
too. It's funny because, like, how many 6 or 7 year olds out there probably have dreams of playing football in college, and today they just don't. They can't even. Like, I know they're young, and maybe eventually they get it, but like, come on, man. Like, if you were 7 years old, you would try to understand everything at that point in
I mean,
time, like, to
it
get
took me
started.
it took me a long time. I'm gonna be honest, Ballard. Like when I was a little kid,
Uh-huh.
it took me a long time to figure out what was the difference between an extra point and a field goal because it looks the same.
Right.
It looked the same to me. I'm like, oh, did they get 3 points? I used to ask my uncle all the time, did they get 3 points or did they get 1 point? Like, and he had to tell me extra point is after a touchdown.
Yeah.
And field goal is if they don't get a touchdown, then they can settle for a field goal. That's 3 points, right?
I remember when it was when Alabama went back to back in 11 and 12, and I just all I really knew other than, like, well, I didn't even know at the time. Uh, like, I knew Alabama didn't make it one year, but like I had paid attention in 2013 with the kick six and all that. But remember, Florida State won it that year when they had announced the championship game and it was on. I was just like, wait a minute, that's not Alabama. You mean to tell me other teams can get there too? So anyway, I threw that out there for fun, but that was true. I was like that. I was like, wait a minute. There's
Yeah,
a
I
world
mean,
outside of Alabama for championship.
yeah, I mean,
Everyone gets
listen,
trophies.
like that's very true. And that
Yeah,
as young college football fans that are trying to learn the sport and the craft of college football and how it has evolved over time. But I don't mind it changing from time to time. I don't mind college football changing from time to time, but let it breathe. Let let it breathe for a
yeah.
couple
Like, I
years.
get, dude. Holy crap! We haven't even started anything. I mean, we started the 12-team playoff, but that's it. You know, like, bro. we haven't started our supposedly 14 team playoff, and now all of a sudden we want to make that thing 30. Let's go. Shout out to no, who was it that said make it 40? Do you see that quote?
I did not
There
see
was a
that quote.
there was a coach. There was a coach. I think he was only joking. Oh crap! It's gonna kill me who it was.
That sounds
Maybe
like that sounds like a Lane Kiffin quote to me.
it wasn't Lane. It was not Lane.
Was it Eli Drinkwitz?
No. Oh God. Someone. It'll come back to me. But yeah, I mean, like, it's just I want some consistency and constant.
Was it Dan Mullet?
Damn moment. No, no, it wasn't. That sounds like a damn thing, though.
I don't know. I was just trying to jog your memory, but
Yeah.
like, you know, listen, in the grand scheme of things, this may not seem like a big deal to talk about, but it is a big deal for me because I really want something to be sustainable. So we had the 4-team playoff for about what? So 2014 to 2024. So we had about a good 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was sustainable. And I'll tell you why that was sustainable, because we realized after I feel like 10 years is a pretty good amount of years to understand that, hey.
Oh, I got it. I got it. Matt Rule of Nebraska joked and said, "Make that thing 40. Let's go." Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
But
Matt Rule.
what I was saying is they had the 4-team playoff, and we realized after a good amount of years, 10 years, right?
Yeah.
I think 10 years is a really good sustainable amount of years to really understand if something is working or not, right? Okay.
Yeah, like, okay, people, like, okay, the first, second, third, whatever, like, at first, the 14 playoff, people had questions about it. There was controversy over this team or that team getting left out. But overall, like, honestly, like, it worked. When you look at the 10 years that we did it, or 9 or whatever, like, it was never really much in favor of a conference, a team, a coach. I mean, yeah, Alabama made it, but they also had years where they didn't. Georgia went back to back. But I mean, Ohio State won. Who else? LSU, Clemson won too. I mean, and I think the same it could be said for the 12-team playoff. I went into the season. I said, don't be surprised if it's an underdog, even if it's someone that we're used to seeing be one of the top teams. Don't be surprised if it's not the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 seed that got a bye. And it was ultimately, what was Ohio State? Maybe a 6 or a 7? And they,
7.
yeah, and they won it. Like, technically, in a way, like an underdog won it, but yeah.
Here's the thing, though, Ballard, right?
Yeah.
So, Ohio State and Notre Dame got literally the benefit of having a 12-team playoff this year. That they literally benefited the most from it.
And they took advantage of it and took care of business.
Because had it been a 4-team playoff, Ballard,
they wouldn't be in it.
They would have never sniffed the playoffs. It would have been what? Georgia, Penn State, Texas, and Oregon, right?
I could see that, yeah. And then everyone else would be whining and moaning to expand it. Well, it's expanded now, so you made it. Congrats to Ohio State, but whatever.
Literally, Ohio State won a national championship because they expanded the playoffs.
Right. And it was a
That
year where, like, okay, and you're going to see this. I guarantee it. You'll see it more times than not. It won't be like your group of five type stuff or the lowest of the low, but you're always going to see a team that going into the season has really good odds, but then they kind of poop the bed a little bit. And, as the season goes on, but then they're still good enough to get in, and they probably shouldn't win at all, but they do anyway. Like, I'm not taking anything away from Will Howard or anybody, anything away. But were they the best team all year that should have won it?
I mean,
Or
I'm gonna
were,
be
I
honest with
mean, they were close,
I'm gonna
yeah, but
I'm gonna be honest with you, Ballard. I think Ohio
yeah,
State has been the best team in college football for the last few years, but they just haven't won the national championship. And I
yeah.
honestly, I know people are going to laugh at me and all that stuff, but I just I look. Yes,
It's just because of their recruiting and how stacked they are,
yes,
basically.
Ohio. Yes, Ohio State has the highest winning percentage and all that stuff, and I don't know. I don't know why hasn't yeah they have the best winning percentage, but why hasn't Ohio State had more national titles than they do with all the talent that they've had? That is what really questions me whenever I look at the head coach and like yes, he is an elite coach because he's won, you know, a record breaking amount of, like the highest percentage winning percentage at Ohio State. He has a national championship finally. I just feel like he's done less with more, if that makes any sense. I know that's kind of weird,
Yeah,
but he's done less with more talent. I mean,
there's a few
I am
coaches out there like that. I mean, he just
I am
happened to been the best of those, and he got it done this year.
I am of the belief had Urban Meyer had all this talent that he has had over the past few years, Urban Meyer might be sitting at 3 or 4 national titles right now. Or if that was a Nick Saban ran Ohio State team, I mean, we might be talking about Nick Saban having 3 or 4 more national titles at Ohio State. But Ryan Day
Maybe,
only
maybe.
you cut out a little bit.
I said maybe.
I just I don't know, man. Like to me, something doesn't sit right. Yes, I know he has all the stats, he has all the accolades, except for national championships, other than that one that he had this past year. But he has like some other accolades as well. But like something just doesn't sit right with me whenever I think of Ryan Day. I don't know what it is. I really don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have a likable face. I don't know. I don't know what it is, Ballard. I don't know what it is. Every time I look at him, every time I hear his name, Ryan Day, like I just he's
Cringe.
cringy. He's cringy,
Yeah.
and he's I don't know. I know I think I've asked you this before, but I'm gonna ask you again. Have you ever just like looked at somebody and you don't know why, but you just don't like them or you just don't want to give them credit?
Yeah. Yeah. I felt that way about Trevor Lawrence. Now, I don't feel that way anymore, but long hair pretty boy sunshine back in the day when he led Clemson to a title over Alabama, even before then I was like, whatever, generational talent. Like I cringed. I cringed at it, Just throwing out an example. I like him now. I really do. I think he's doing great for the Jags, but I like you can't deny greatness when it's right in front of you. But even still, like if you cringe at it a little bit, like you think ego and all this other crap. But yeah, I've been there.
Listen, I'll be on the record to say this. Technically,
Uh huh.
based off of based off of the numbers, the stats, the records, the one national championship he has, Ryan Day is an elite coach, and that really like hurt me to say that. But like,
Yeah.
I just for some reason something don't sit right with me. It's like I have OCD, and you know the cherry on top. The cherry's on top, but the cherry is like off to the side a little bit, not centered.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a cherry on top, but it's just off centered
But
a little bit. And I just want to grab that cherry. I want to grab that cherry and put it off to the side a little bit to center it to make it look right. Like it's a beautiful cake,
even though it doesn't really matter where the cherry is,
right?
right?
Like
But
I
to
feel
you,
like
it matters. So you
I
got to
feel
try to
like
figure.
I feel like this. All right, I'm gonna just say this. This is how I feel about Ryan Day. Like, okay, think about it like a wedding cake, right? You have this beautiful, like it is an amazing
Okay.
wedding cake. It's amazing wedding cake, right? But you know the little
Right.
man and woman, the little groom and bride that's on top,
Oh yeah.
it's off centered. Everything is beautiful. Everything's perfect except for it's off centered, and you don't know what's wrong with it. But you believe that maybe the man and the bride and groom is a little bit off centered. You just want to move it over a little bit, but you can't because then it'll ruin the rest of the cake. So then you're just cringing at it all the time. You're just like, well, it's all right, it's good, right?
Yeah, but you don't
And,
mean it.
but it probably tastes good too
Yeah.
once you eat it. It probably tastes delicious. So
Yeah.
that's, I mean, what I'm trying to say is Ryan Day is an elite coach. He is based off of, the highest winning percentage at Ohio State in the history of history. He's had, an elite, recruiting cycles. He's, elite, he's winning games. He has one national title to show for it. I just, to me, like I feel like I've put Ohio State on a really high pedestal that I feel like he should have more national championships with all that amazing freaking the freak athletes that he had.
Yeah.
I feel like he should have it. I mean, at least another national championship. And I know what people are going to say. Well, Georgia stole that one. Well, technically they didn't. If the field goal would have been good, they would have probably beat TCU. But I mean, and also, I feel like they should have had at least two more. They should have had at least two more because had they would have just taken care of business and beat Michigan in 23, they would have made the playoffs. They probably would have won the championship then instead of Michigan.
What about that LSU year? Had they beaten Clemson in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like Ryan Day has had all this freak athlete talent and only came away with one national title. Bro, what? Like,
It's good, but it's not good enough.
like Kirby Smart has two national championships with the athletes with the generational talent that he was able to have, right?
Right.
He was able to come away with two. Dabo Sweeney, with his generational talent that he had at Clemson, he was able to come away with two. Nick Saban, he had generation talent. He was able to come away with 6 and 7, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, dude, I'll be the first to admit, like all the talent, all the accolades, all the dude's got like Saban had 10 SEC championships and 7 natties. Like, bro, like you know how he's lost 3 titles, and then there's been years where he couldn't even make it that far. Like, bro, you're the GOAT. Come on. I love you,
but
but come on.
But I feel like going back to Ryan Day, I feel like Ryan Day should have. I just feel like something's missing.
Right. I
I
got
do.
yeah.
Even though he has multiple Big Ten titles, he has multiple, you know, playoff appearances. He has, multiple national championship appearances. He
Ball win,
has
stuff like that.
he
Yeah.
like he has the greatest winning percentage in the history of Ohio State. Yes, I get it. I understand that. And it's not that hard to have a great winning percentage whenever you're playing. Look. I'm not going to call it an easy schedule, but okay. Let me do this really quick. And then I just want. I'll say I want to. I want to go to their schedule. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not calling it an easy schedule. I'm not. But I am going to say this: whenever you are Ohio State, it's not hard to beat Grambling State, Ohio. It's not. It's not hard. Let me go back to last year. Sorry. It's not hard to beat Akron. It's not hard to beat Western Michigan. It's not hard to beat Marshall. It's not hard to beat today's Michigan State. It's not hard to beat Iowa because they have no offense. It's not hard to beat Nebraska, which you should have lost to Nebraska, by the way. That was a crazy game, but you should have lost to Nebraska. But that's not the point. You still won. It's not hard to beat the worst Purdue team of all time. It's not hard to beat Northwestern. I mean, it's not hard to beat Indiana, even though they were a pretty tough team. But it's just not hard to beat Indiana if you are Ohio State, is what I'm trying to say, right? Indiana played teams like FIU. It's not hard to beat them. Western Illinois, it's not hard to beat them. It's not hard to beat a terrible UCLA team that has a brand new coach, brand new quarterback, brand new everything. Um, it's not hard to beat a Charlotte team. It's not hard to beat Maryland. It's not hard to
Yeah.
beat Northwestern. It's not hard to beat again a Nebraska team that is on the upcoming, and a lot of people are still not believers in Matt Rule, but it's really not that hard to beat them, especially with their new quarterback, a true freshman quarterback, by the way, right? It's not
Yeah.
hard to beat. It's not hard to beat a Washington team that literally lost their whole entire team and lost their head coach, and it's not really hard to beat them after everything they've lost. Right? They completely have a brand new team, so it's not hard to beat them. It's not hard to beat again Michigan State. That's like Dookie, right? Uh, and they beat
Yeah.
Michigan, but Michigan lost their head coach, and they kind of was starting all over again. So it's not really hard to beat them. You lost to the only good team you had in Ohio State, and like I said, it's not hard to beat Purdue, the worst Big Ten team in history. Like it's not hard, right? And you can say whatever you want, Ballard, but really the Big Ten has 18 teams, and there's only Ohio State, Oregon, Ohio State, Oregon,
Penn State. I would
Penn
throw Penn
State,
State there. Yeah.
and I'm gonna throw Michigan in there because they're usually pretty good, right? So outside of four teams, you might have once a year. You might have like Indiana or something like that, or like a Illinois, right? But
Yeah.
outside of four teams, you mean like, bro? Come on, bro. Like the Big Ten is not this big juggernaut that people make it out to be. Is what I'm trying to say. Like Ohio State, yeah, of course they're going to have a great win percentage whenever they're facing teams like I just mentioned, right? I mean, duh. And look, I'm not saying that they have an easy schedule. That's what it may seem like I'm saying, but with the talent, all I'm trying to say is with the talent that Ohio State's had over the past few years, they should have been. They it feels like they should have at least one or two more national titles. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Just feel like something's
It
missing.
should
That's
have.
all.
I I think they should have bounced back starting in 21 after they lost in the. I thought they should have got back there and you know there. I think.
Right. But I mean, I
And,
kind of said everything I wanted to say about the uh, formats. I'll just kind of summarize what I said. I know in the beginning I had said something. I said some misinformation in the beginning of when I first started talking, and I apologize.
yeah,
I confused myself at first, but I got back on the right track. So, 2026 will be the start of the 16 team playoff. They still have not come to an agreement. I am upset about it because I felt like at first they had a terrible idea going with the SEC and Big Ten having four automatic qualifying teams, which was absolutely ridiculous, with the ACC and Big 12 only getting two each, which I thought that was ridiculous. But then
yeah,
they changed it to the five automatic qualifiers plus 11 at large, which I thought I was really in favor for. And also, the other commissioners were also in favor. But some source said, hey, by the way, just because they say they're going to heavily put the, you know, a strength of schedule, they're heavily going to think about the strength of schedule. That doesn't mean that they are going to do it, right?
yeah,
It's still based off of their opinions. And then the SEC wants the strength of schedule to be heavily influenced based off of their, um, you know, the way that they place these teams, right? So to me, it just seems like an SEC source said that the way that he wrote it. And my thoughts is that I think it's a power move. I think it's just bad for business, in my opinion. Wanting to start over. That's the words that were used in the paragraph. It said, "quote start over." Like, you mean to tell me that you're just gonna rip that page out of the book and start completely over? Like, you're not even going to run the ideas of the other the other things you had in mind. You're not even going to like think about them possibilities. You're just going to completely start all over with a fresh blank slate. Really? Like, I
yeah,
think that's like, and you only have until December to do something. We're already in June. We're halfway through June. So you got a little bit more than maybe July, August, September, October, November. You got about 6 months to go. You really think you're going to create something in 6 months whenever you haven't been able to do it the first 6 months of talking about this? I mean, we'll see what they come up with, but I just my thoughts are that I hate that they're flip flopping. I hate flip flopping, um, and I hope that they create something that will be sustainable. I hope, and I pray that whenever they finalize this deal, that I hope it's not just a 2 year deal. I hope that it's not just a 2 or 3 year deal and then they'll revisit it in 2 or 3 years and see if they want to change it, right?
yeah,
I hope that's not what they do. I hope whenever they finalize this deal that they make it a sustainable, at least 10-year deal to where we can see it play out in real time, not just 1 or 2 years and get butt hurt and then have to change it, right? Even the 12-team playoff, I didn't mention this. I will mention it really quick before I get off here.
Yeah.
But even the 12-team playoff changed within the first year. So this year they had, um, you know, they had different seating, right? This
Yeah.
coming year is going to be a straight seating. Last year it was a lot different, right?
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
the
Last year you had the conference champions basically get the bye, and now 1 through 4 is going to get the bye, where the straight seating comes in. You're basically what the committee ranks you.
so that's even changed. Like
Yeah.
we only had 1 year of the 12-team playoff, and you already changed it. And then you're going to have one more year of the 12-team playoff, and you're going to change it to a 16-team playoff. I just hope that in the future, once they make this deal, I hope that it's not just a couple year deal and then just revisit it. I hope that's not what they do. I hope that they actually take the time, the next 6 months, come up with a sustainable model that every party likes, that's best for college football, and that we can actually learn these rules and formats for the next 10, 20 years. And I hope that we can, use it for the foreseeable future, not just for the near future. That's my complete thoughts in a nutshell. That's what we spent the last hour talking about. So if you didn't want to watch the whole video, you could just listen to that little 5-second thing that I just did. That tells you my whole thoughts. But anyways, Ballard, I'm glad that you let me come on here and say my piece. I'm glad you was able to come on and talk with me. But if you got anything else, you know, obviously this is your channel. You can say whatever you want. But I'm gonna get off of here.
I'm gonna get off here too. I love all you guys, man. Love you, brother. And anytime you need to come on and rant, just know that you're always welcome to.
For sure. But if
Yeah.
you if you like the content, smash the thumbs up, and if you really like the content, hit the subscribe button.